They told me I was safe, that HR was here to help, that if something went wrong I could speak up, and they would listen. So when I finally gathered the courage to report my manager, I believed I was doing the right thing. 3 days later I was out of a job. It all started a few months after a leadership change. The new manager had a different approach. Distant, controlling, unpredictable. Tasks that used to take an hour suddenly came with daily check-ins. Meetings turned into interrogations. And most of my contributions were dismissed or quietly handed to someone else. At first I told myself to adjust. New managers bring new expectations, right? But the way he singled me out didn't feel like feedback. It felt personal. So I started documenting. Not because I expected anything, but because I didn't want to doubt myself later. Then came the meeting that changed everything. A team presentation, a tense question, and suddenly, he raised his voice, interrupted me, questioned my work in front of everyone. It caught me off guard and the room went quiet. After that, I decided to go to HR. I brought everything, the emails, the project timelines, even screenshots of Slack conversations. I walked them through it as clearly and calmly as I could. They thanked me. They told me it was the right thing to do. They said there would be no retaliation. For the first time in weeks, I felt a small sense of relief. I left that room thinking things might actually change. The next few days were quiet. Then came a meeting invite labeled Performance Alignment. I walked in and saw a folder on the desk. They told me my position had been reevaluated, that things weren't working out. And just like that, I was being let go. No formal warning. No PIP. No documentation, other than the one sitting in that folder. There was also an NDA, quietly tucked between the exit documents. It asked for my silence in exchange for a severance I hadn't asked for. It took me a while to process what had happened. I didn't yell. I didn't fight. I just felt stunned. Because the hardest part wasn't the job loss. It was the realization that I had done exactly what they told me to do, and still paid the price for speaking up. A few colleagues reached out after I left. They said they saw it too, but didn't feel safe saying anything while they were still employed. I didn't blame them. Fear is subtle. It doesn't always show up in shouting matches or open conflict. Sometimes it looks like silence, nods, and empty seats the day after someone speaks up. I shared this story not to point fingers, but to let it breathe, to say quietly but clearly that these things do happen, and that you're not alone if something like this has happened to you too. If you're ever in a place where things feel wrong but no one seems to notice, keep your records, protect your peace, and remember, silence might protect the system, but sharing your story might help someone else see they're not the only one. You're not imagining it, and you don't have to carry it alone. This is Fired and Fed Up. Thanks for listening.